Which team sports championship is the hardest to win? We have number 12, the college football playoff, versus number 5, the Super Bowl.
Yeah, before we start, I want to say all these championships are very hard to win. Some are just a little harder than others, though. Look, to win the Super Bowl, you got to build a roster that can compete with 31 other teams under a salary cap, and you got to be in the top 50% of teams in the regular season, and then go on a crazy playoff run, winning a bunch of one-and-done games. That's hard, but you know what's harder? In college football, you got to build a roster to compete with 137 other teams in the era of NIL. You got to be near perfect in the regular season, and then you got to go on that same one-and-done playoff format. The NFL might be higher quality football, but the college football playoffs are a harder trophy to win. They're moving on, the 12 over the 5.
Number 9, the top 5 European domestic league, versus number 8, the Champions League.
Yeah, debate as old as time. Is it harder to win high-pressure elimination games against teams from other countries, or regular season games consistently against teams from your own country? To me, the answer is clear. You could get a lucky run in the Champions League. You could just scrape by getting 24th place in the new league format, get some easy fixtures in the knockout stage, and win a final on penalties. Jones, there's no way to fluke a win in a domestic league. You gotta be nearly flawless all season long, incredibly consistent, and some people might say, Eli, you gotta qualify for the Champions League each season. You technically gotta qualify to be in the top flight as well. I'm taking the 9 over the 8. A domestic league's harder.
Number 11, the College World Series, versus number 6, the World Series.
Yeah, this 11 seed's actually a lot tougher than people give it credit for. There's regionals, super regionals, Omaha, double elimination, best of 3. It's very, very confusing, but that doesn't mean it's harder than the MLB World Series. Jones, once you get to Omaha, once you get to the final step, the World Series, it's only a 3-game set. To win the MLB World Series, you gotta win a best of 7 series in the middle of October. That's harder than anything the College World Series could dream up. The 6 moves on.
Number 10, Copa America, versus number 7, the Euros.
Yeah, again, Copa America kind of getting disrespected here. I get South America only has 10 teams and everyone qualifies, but Jones, in order to win the thing, you're going to have to go through either Brazil or Argentina. That's difficult. There's no fluke run. In the Euros, you could finish third in a group, maybe get some easier opponents in the knockouts if the bracket falls your way. Looking at you, Portugal 2016, but in reality, this Euros team is seated higher for a reason. There's a lot more quality in Europe. It's probably going to be a tougher tournament. Give me the Euros over Copa America.
Let's go to the Elite 8, where it's number 12, the college football playoff, versus number 4, the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, for everything I said earlier about the CFP and how hard it is, the reality is once you're actually in the playoff, you're not playing that much. Yes, the tournament goes on for a long time, but you're getting pretty much 2 weeks between each round to rest up, prepare for your opponent, and then it's only 1 game. Jones, to go the distance in the Stanley Cup playoffs, you could potentially play 28 games basically every other night. Hockey's ridiculously hard on your body, and to do it at that frequency is borderline impossible. The Stanley Cup playoffs move on.
Number 9, the top 5 European domestic league, versus number 1, March Madness.
Yeah, I know I said you had to be nearly perfect to win a top 5 league. That's the key word. Nearly. Theoretically, in a 6-game stretch, you could draw a game, maybe even lose a game, and still be fine. You don't have that luxury in March Madness. Plus, with this 9 seed, you're playing every single team twice and getting half your fixtures at home. In March Madness, every single game is at a neutral venue, and most of the teams you're seeing, you've probably never seen before. That makes it harder. The one's moving on.
Number 6, the World Series, versus number 3, the NBA Finals.
Yeah, an interesting matchup. You got a 162-game season compared to an 82-game season. But Jones, in that 82-game season, most of the players aren't even playing 75% of the games. Load management hurts the NBA a lot in this one. Everybody's rested, everybody's ready, and still everybody's hurt. Whoever wins the NBA Finals is just the team that can stay healthy the longest, not necessarily the team that plays the best at the right time. It takes more to win in the MLB. I'm taking the 6 over the 3.
Number 7, the Euros, versus number 2, the World Cup.
Yeah, there's actually a legitimate argument for this 7 seed being harder than this too. The average quality of team at the Euros is probably better than the average quality of team at the World Cup. After all, 5 of the 8 World Cup champions come from UEFA. 16 of this year's World Cup World Cup, 48 teams comes from UEFA. But Jones, what sets the World Cup apart is its qualification process. It's really hard to win a trophy when you don't have a very high chance of even being in the tournament. Just ask Italy. The World Cup's harder. It's going to the Final Four.
Into the Final Four, it's number 4, the Stanley Cup, versus number 1, March Madness.
Yeah, March Madness is probably the greatest tournament in all of sports. 64 teams, single elimination, one and done. There's so much drama, but the reality is, if you're a high seed, you're not playing that many good teams. In the first round, you can get a 15 seed, a 16 seed. In the second round, a 9 or a 10. You're not playing great teams until the end. Jones, in the Stanley Cup playoff, the margin between teams is so thin that in the first round, you're already playing a great team. You gotta win 16 games against some of the best teams in the league. Every single one is tough. That makes the Stanley Cup playoffs a little harder. It's going to the final.
The other semifinal, a battle of the worlds. It's number 6, the World Series, versus number 2, the World Cup.
Jones, the World Series is a really hard trophy to win. You're wrapping up a long 162-game season with a grueling playoffs against really good teams. Your pitchers have to be on. Your lineup has to be dialed. The bullpen has to be perfect. But Jones, the reality is this. You could lose 9 games in the MLB playoffs and still win the World Series. If you lose more than 1 game in the World Cup, you're done. The World Cup to the final.
And that takes us to a final of 2 incredibly hard championships to win. It's number 4, the Stanley Cup. It's number 2, the World Cup. Eli, which team sports championship is the hardest to win?
Jones, the Stanley Cup is without question the hardest trophy to win in North American sports. You gotta play a long 82-game season and then get to the playoffs, which lasts 2 months. 4 7-game series is where you have to be on your game almost every night. You gotta be getting hits, taking big shots into the boards, physically demanding, and then running it back the next day. It's very hard, but let me tell you this. Someone won the Stanley Cup last year. Someone won it the year before that. Someone won it the year before that. Every single year, somebody has a chance to win the Stanley Cup. Therefore, the likelihood of someone winning it is high. To win the World Cup, not only do you have to be perfect, not only do you have to be immaculate in every phase of the game, if you don't win it, you gotta wait 4 more years for another chance. And that's why the World Cup is the hardest trophy to win in all of team sports. The MVP of the bracket, Mario Götze.